Today I'm going to talk about how we estimated the carbon footprint of the GRAND project, which is a multi-decade astrophysics experiment. GRAND stands for Giant Radio Array for Neutrino Detection, and it is a planned large-scale observatory of ultra-high energy cosmic particles. The project aims at deploying over 200,000 antennas, over 200,000 square kilometers in radio quiet locations in mountains. And those are places that are often with difficult access. You can see a photo of a prototype of one of the antennas in the desert in China. And here you can see the first hotspot that has been chosen. It is in a western deserted area of China. And it is the first hotspot for the first 10,000 antennas. So here we worked on the estimation of the greenhouse gas emissions for this project. And we used only open data sources so that what we worked on can be used by other collaboration, for example, in order to compare our results. This experiment is special because it is a 3 stages experiment. The first stage is a GRAND Proto 300, which consists in deploying 300 radio antennas over 300 square kilometers. Then there is GRAND 10K with 10,000 antennas over 10,000 square kilometers. And the last stage is GRAND 200Ks. It's the last stage, and it consists in deploying 200,000 antennas over 200,000 square kilometers, subdivided over 20 subarrays of 10,000 antennas all over the world. So right now we are currently in the GRAND Proto 300 phase. When we talk about carbon assessment, it is important to know the specificities of each project. So for the specificities of GRAND, first it's localization. As the experiment requires radio quiet localizations, they are often remote places with difficult access, as I said. And the localization of the first stage here is in China, and it has obviously an impact on the greenhouse gas emissions. The type of experiment is also important, as the number of antennas deployed for the last stage is really huge. We saw in the results that one single antenna does not really have an impact, but the number of antennas has an impact on the assessment we realized. And also this experiment provides a huge amount of data, and we will see that it's not negligible at all in terms of carbon. And as I said, this is a 3 stages project, and I will present the results of the emissions for each stage of the project, and you will see that there are many differences between all those steps. So concerning methodology, we use the general methodology of greenhouse gas emissions inventories. So first, we determine the activity data that can be, for example, kilometers traveled, CPU hours, or number of devices. And then we determine the emission factors that are linked to this activity data. And we multiplied it simply. For our work here, it's not a complete carbon assessment, as we chose to focus only on 3 categories, which are travel, digital, and hardware. Why those three ones? First, because those are the ones that we estimated that could be the most emitting sources for the project. And also and mainly because those are the ones that the collaboration has a leverage on and that can set action plans. And this work is in 2 steps. So first, we determine what has been emitted so far. So from 2015 to the mid-half of 2020. And then we worked on projection for the future of the project. I want to grab your attention about the results. We present here order of magnitude only. They are not precise number, even though they can seem really precise, but it's only order of magnitudes. And we are more interested in the proportions of the emissions. We used many emission factors that are French-centered, for example, for the data centers. And the result that we present here, and especially for the projection, should be taken with great caution, as they are subject to technology or society changes. And we chose to stay really conservative in order to have the results that do not take into account any change that won't happen, unfortunately. So I'm going to present each emission sources, and at the end I will present all the emissions together to see the differences. So concerning travel, I wanted to talk about how we did for plane. So there are differences between the different databases that you can find online, and then can be up to a factor of 3. So for this work, we chose to use 4 databases and to take the average value of those databases, as you can see in a black solid line here. Using those emission factors, we could compute the emissions of travel for Grand. So each graph here represents the emission of 1 year in each stage of the project. And here you can see the total amount of CO2 equivalent per year in this stage. What is interesting to see is that for the last stage, emissions of on-site missions prevail. So on-site missions are people often working from Europe, and that people are doing a round trip from Europe to China. And so it was interesting for us to know that it is the main emission source in order to set action plans about those on-site missions. Now about digital. We chose to estimate the emission of digital through devices, simulations and data, and exchanges. We weren't sure about the results, so we just wanted to see if they were negligible or not. And so for the results, you can see that for the last stage of the project, digital represents nearly 6,000 tons of CO2 equivalent per year. So digital is not negligible at all for our project. And it is mainly because there are a lot of data. So for the first step of the project, we suppose that it is only raw data, so non-reduced. And then we suppose that it will be reduced down to the volume of data for astroparticle, but stored in 3 different places for security. So as you can see, data storage prevails over all the other emission sources for digital for Grand. And it is followed then by data transfer. And for the last stage of the project, it represents nearly more than 80% of the emissions of digital. And so we were quite surprised about those results, and we understood that data is a huge and important issue to tackle for when you talk about the emissions of Grand. Now about the antennas. So here I do not present a complete life cycle analysis, as we just choose to focus on the heaviest parts, taking also into account their transportation. So the 3 heaviest parts of the antennas are 75 kilograms of stainless steel, 1 square meter solar panel in polycrystalline technology, and 1 lead acid battery. As I said earlier, we didn't take into account any technical or technological change so that we can stay really conservative in our results. So for the results of the antennas, first you can see that the proportions do not change, as we didn't take into account any change in the techniques of the antennas. But what is interesting to see is first the overall emissions in each stage. So for the first step of the project, it is only 18 tons of CO2 equivalent per year, whereas for the last stage, it is more than 6,000 tons of CO2 equivalent per year. Which is really important, and it is mainly done because of the number of antennas. And as you can see, the emissions are really dominated by stainless steel, and it was something really useful for us to know in order to see where we have to act first in order to reduce in the most efficient way. So when I talk about reducing, after those results, we wondered, those are the final results and the projections for the whole emissions. So first of all, you can see that the projections between each stage of the project are really different depending on the step of the project. For the first, so for Grand Proto 300, you can see that digital represents nearly 75% of the emissions, followed by travel, and the antennas in red and orange do not represent a huge amount of emissions. For the mid-scale phase, the emissions between travel, digital, and antennas are quite proportional. Whereas for the last stage, as the number of antennas and the quantity of data is exploding, the emissions are dominated by the antennas, almost 50%, and then followed by data. And whereas travel does not only represent 7% of the emissions. So those are really interesting results. And we were quite surprised to see the differences between all the stages of this project. And we understood that the actions that we can choose to do are really different depending on the step. So talking about actions, so we wonder what to do next. So those are some ideas we had about what to do to reduce, in order to reduce those emissions. Those are ideas, it's not complete, and also it only focuses on the three sources we estimated. So concerning travel, it is always trying to reducing the travel, and especially for on-site missions. As I said that on-site missions are really the most important in terms of emission sources. Concerning digital, there are two main points. The first one is trying to reduce the data volume using various storage levels, and to store data in countries with low energy emission factors. So for example, France or other countries, as it has an impact on the emission factors of the data storage. And then concerning hardware, there are also two main points. So first, we want to stay aware of all the technical changes that can happen. So the improvements in terms of battery, of technologies, of solar panel, and to check always the production conditions so that we will have the best technology in terms of environmental impact. And also try to have a smaller size for everything. So for batteries, solar panel, and it will give a less amount of stainless steel. And 1 kilogram of stainless steel in less, if you cut 1 kilogram of stainless steel for one antenna, it doesn't really change a thing, but for the whole batch of 200,000 antennas, it obviously has an impact on the emissions of the whole project. Thank you.